If you are searching for a definition of happiness, then you're doing it wrong. Am I right? You can tweet that. Hey guys. Hey there, Sadie. How are you doing? I'm so happy to see you. So I'm going to repeat what I just said. If you're searching for a definition of happiness, if you need a definition to kind of figure out whether you can be happy in your life, then you're doing it wrong. We don't search for definition of sadness. When we're sad, we just accept it. We feel it, okay? Sadness is a feeling. So why do we seek for a definition of happiness? Why do we get all angsty about it? Hey, I'm Life Energy Alchemist Zoe Foster, and this is my energy shift for the coming month of April. I've got some pigeons that are joining in my live here. April through May! I can't believe it already. So every full moon I bring you a new bite-sized yet powerful practice to help you embody and expand into your own energized brilliance in your physical, emotional, mental and spiritual self on an everyday basis. And this month I want to look at this issue, this elusivity of happiness and why we make it so damn difficult in our everyday lives. So I believe it's also the biggest game changer that we can honestly, as individuals, bring to the planet right now in all its craziness and all the political and ecological and societal turmoil. If we can each find our own happiness vibe, then that is no insignificant feat, because it's so infectious. Am I right? Happiness is infectious. Just as in negativity and fear and doubt and all of the crappy stuff that we're used to feeling, and that actually, quite honestly, we're really open to feeling. We're open to all of those negative emotions, and we're open to spreading those every single day, but we're not open to the higher emotions of happiness, of joy, and of spreading those on a really consistent basis. And if you're triggered right now, I want you to look at why that is. Straight off the bat, just be honest with yourself, because this is the most important work that you can do for yourself, for your family, and for everybody around you. Now look, I am not going to preach at you and say you've got to be happy, joy all day long, 24/7. That is just not gonna happen. I am testament to that. I've had a bit of a low day today, I'll be really honest. And do you know what? That's okay. I don't believe that in order to be happy, we have to ignore any other emotion. And I'm not really sure where that perception has come from. It's very prevalent in our society. And I think it's also one of the biggest reasons that we poo-poo this idea of being happy and of following our happiness. Anyway, I would love to hear some of your thoughts right now on this subject, of the things that you struggle with in feeling that emotion of happiness on a day-to-day basis in your life in general. What stops that happening for you specifically? So we're going to look at this in more detail for this energy shift month, this live, and it's going to be super simple for you. It is going to be triggering, obviously. How else are you going to shift your energies, right? But yeah, I saw a film the other night called Hector and the Search for Happiness. I don't know if you've seen it. Give me a send me an emoji below if you've seen it. It's got Simon Pegg in it, who I'm really not that keen on, but he was brilliant in it, actually. He plays a psychiatrist, a really kind of disillusioned psychiatrist who realizes he's not happy, and more to the point, he's not making his patients any happier. So his psychiatric patients are coming in day after day, week after week, month after month, and they're just not getting any better. And so he starts to kind of look into why that is, what's going on. And he takes off around the world searching for the meaning of happiness. Okay, so this kind of age-old concept, what the heck is happiness and how do we find it? And he interviews people, everybody from a Buddhist monk, you know, kind of up in the mountains, to a drugs baron, to like, you know, an African mother of 5 or whatever. It's amazing, all of the different kind of responses he gets and all of his different experiences, obviously, that he encounters along the way. And it was so affirming to me that we, you know, this question of why do we elude happiness? Because I honestly don't believe happiness eludes us. I think we push it away. And I think this also comes back to what we looked at last month on the idea of narrowing our emotional bandwidth. And in fact, Hector looks at this in the film. Towards the end of the film, he has I forget what it's called, the brain scan, where he has all of the, you know, the kind of wires in his head. And he is told to experience 3 different emotions. And for all of those emotions, he just can't quite commit to them. He can't quite fully light up those areas of his brain until he just lets go. And he finally opens up. And his whole brain just starts glowing, because he's not just feeling one emotion at a time. He's feeling everything all at once, so intensely. And I don't think we go there. I think this is exactly what he was portraying in the film, is that we're so scared of our emotions that we just don't, we kind of cut them down, we numb them out, we get to a certain level and then we just go, no, I can't go any further. And there's so many reasons for that, historically, socially, in our own individual histories, obviously. And that's part of what I want us to look at today. So believe me when I say happiness is not a trite subject by any means. Happiness and how we allow it into our lives can be very, very heavy, in fact. So I want you to know that. I want you to acknowledge that right now for yourselves. And just look at that. Just think, maybe that's why I'm not happy. Maybe that's why I'm not allowing myself to do the things, to be the things that would actually make me happy. And I also want you to ask yourself the question, before we look at this a little bit more in depth, what could be more important than being and spreading happiness? Truly. Not empty, fake, Pollyanna-ish happiness that relies on external things or numbing out those negative emotions and those, you know, our entire range of emotional bandwidth. But real, fulfilled, joyful, whole being happiness. What could be more important than that? Seriously. If we radiated that on an individual, a familial, a community, and a global level, what do you think might happen to our society? And why do we convince ourselves that happiness is therefore a luxury? Something we can only have when we're thinner, or we've got that perfect partner, or that beautiful house by the sea, or, you know, we're on a more even keel with our finances, even. Why is it we say, I'll be happy when? So studies have shown that happiness is truly infectious. As I'm sure you can imagine, you know, if this works for negativity, when somebody's in a bad mood and it just, you can feel it when they walk in the room and you just know, I don't want to be near that. It's the same for happiness. When somebody is walking down the street and they don't have to be kind of jumping up and down or singing or doing anything outlandish. You can feel it as you walk past them. You can just feel that. And if you are in the space where you can not fall into jealousy or kind of judgment. Judgment's a big one, right? We say, oh, who's that crazy person walking down being so happy? If we don't fall into those traps, then we can allow that happiness to radiate into our hearts and to fill us up, right? So I want you to try this for yourself. Next time, you can do it right now if you've got somebody right next to you. Look into their eyes. Look directly into their eyes. Doesn't work if they look away, okay? So you've got to look into their eyes. And regardless of where they are right now in their emotional state, if you give them not a fake smile, but a genuine, really heartfelt smile, looking directly into their eyes, I guarantee their mouth will at least start to quiver, even if they are trying their best to, avoid this. Their mirror neurons will be firing crazily because we are part of a tribe. We are built to mirror what is happening around us. Okay, so if somebody is smiling at us, then everything's okay. It's great. We've got to be part of that. We smile back. We create that radiance. We throw it out to the society around us. So there's a little social experiment you can try for yourself right now, or when you've got somebody close at hand. Now, we're going to come to the practical section here. And don't turn off, right? Because, listen, it's all very well knowing this stuff, like anything. You can know this stuff in your head, and you can even know it in your heart. But if you stop there and you fail to look at your life, and to look at the habits and the triggers and the conditioning and even, yes, maybe the deep down trauma. If you fail to look at that, then you will change nothing in your life. Nothing. And that is a problem, okay? It's a problem for you and it's a problem for everyone around you. So I believe it is our responsibility to look at this, to look at why we're not allowing happiness into our lives or why we're narrowing it, okay? So maybe you have those moments and you allow those little moments to come in and you go, oh, this is so great, this is so great. And then the fear or whatever it is just squashes it right down and you can't feel it anymore. That's it. Until next time, until the next kind of fun thing happens for you. So get yourself a bit of paper and a pen. Don't worry, you're not going to write very much here, but this is the practical part, okay? And if you want help and support doing this, you can come on into my group Elevate and Expand. It's on Facebook. And we'll go through this together, you know, so you don't have to be alone to do this. But the first thing I want you to write down is 10, and I'm sure you can think of 100 easily right now, just 10 reasons for what is holding you back right now. Why can't you be happy in your life right now? Without thinking about it, just write them down. And don't for a moment also think you're too enlightened to not have these reasons in your life. I am certain even the Dalai Lama has these moments where he thinks, you know, this is holding me back. My God, you know, I thought I'd got over this already. So it could be I need to have, you know, more energy before I can feel truly happy. I need to have better skin because, and obviously this has been a big one for me, I need to have better skin because if people are looking at me, they're not going to, you know, want to share in my happiness, or they're not going to accept that I can be happy even looking the way that I did or do even. I need to lose weight. I'm sure that's a massive one for so many of us. Just dig into it. And I'd love you, if you feel that you can, I'd love for you to share any of these things for you. Try not to edit or judge them, because trust me, at least I was going to say at least one other person, I was going to say at least many other people are going to feel the same way or something very similar. So a key one, a big one for most people is, I can't be happy until I feel financially stable or secure, okay? You know, that is such a big one because it's so prevalent. And again, it's going back to these survival-based emotions that we looked at last month. And that's why I really recommend you go back. If you haven't done it yet, go back to last month's video and go through that expansion exercise of shifting and expanding those emotions, because when you do that, that's how you start to shift these issues for yourself and actually can access and move into the higher vibrations for yourself. So some other ones could be, I can't be happy because I'm tired all the time. You know, if you suffer from a chronic illness, obviously this is a big one. If you have pain, if you might be in pain 24/7, as I have been, you know, for the last 6 or so years, I have, and obviously it's diminished and diminished and diminished and diminished, but there was a time, certainly, when I was in excruciating pain and discomfort 24/7, and yet I still found my happiness practice. It wasn't always easy. So take a deep breath. Have a look at what you've written and read over and just breathe into them. Each statement, just breathe it in deeply. And if emotions come up, which they will, just acknowledge those for yourself. Acknowledge them. Honor them. And if really big emotions come up, so for example, if you have written down something that maybe relates to some kind of trauma in your life, whether it's past or present or ongoing, take a really big, deep breath and just Allow it to infuse into your entire being with love and compassion, because this is part of you. This is a huge, huge part of who you are, and you can't ignore it. I know you want to. I know it's so much easier to suppress and to keep it at bay and to numb it out. But this is who you are. And when we don't express that, it pains us. It continues to pain us in multiple ways through our entire being. I also want you to remember there's no shame in this work. It's all valid and completely a part of who you are and who we are. Remember, we are not as separate as we make out we are. We look at people and we think they're different from me because we look at that person, we put them on a pedestal and we say, they're luckier than me because, and we say they can be happy because, but I can't because. So these are the reasons I want you to be writing down and looking at right now for yourself with love and compassion. Now in column 2, so you can write next to it, you can write underneath, doesn't really matter. I'd like you to write down how you can address each of these beliefs in your life right now. And honestly, it might be as simple as acknowledging it fully, energetically, and releasing it. So quite often, we'll write down something and we'll think, oh, wow, yeah, that's so true. And we can just let it go. It might be that you need to tap on some things. So doing some EFT work, and I thoroughly recommend for this Marie Holden. I will tag her below. And Brad Yates is also good and fun as well. They both have excellent resources and tapping scripts on so many different limiting beliefs. So do look them up and use some of their resources for this. And tapping works on an energetic level, so it helps to release your emotions around issues that you've been holding on to. And as a result, it will start to actually shift that belief for you as well. And sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it can go really quickly, just like that. It's really amazing. Sometimes you might just need to have an honest chat with someone. So for example, if it's about finances, maybe you just need to sit down with your partner or even yourself, have a cup of tea with yourself, have a real honest look at your bank balances and your statements, and just, figure out a plan for yourself, have a real honest look at what's going on there, and get excited, actually, about changing it, about shifting it for yourself, even in a small way, okay? Often we think it has to be massive to make a change, and quite often it doesn't. And lastly, if it's something big, so if you've got those kind of big emotional things that you've maybe asterisked because they were really painful for you to write down, look for some professional help. I do not say this lightly, okay? And I can also not emphasize it enough. There is so much taboo around seeking help for things that, honestly, I don't understand it. If we have physical trauma in our bodies, we go and seek out a doctor or a specialist of some kind. But if we have emotional and mental trauma, we think it's just our crazy selves. We make it an ego issue rather than going and seeking out some help to help talk us through it, to help move us through it energetically as well. So do that. Make it a priority. I don't care, honestly, speaking from experience and speaking from having been in that place many times myself. It is not important if you are struggling financially or if you are struggling in other ways in terms of support. You need that help, okay? That is your priority right now. There's nothing more important. Trust me. Now, you've had a look at your entire list. You've seen some of the patterns that are coming up. And honestly, looking at that list for yourself, I bet you can see that these aren't the real issues. Even these things that you thought were the major sticking points, they're not the real issues. So write down now, underneath everything, draw a line and write down now, again without thinking. Just write it out, let it out. What is holding you back? Because under each of these statements is the real reason. What is that? Do you need permission? Do you need somebody to say, yeah, you're allowed to be happy? Honestly, I give you permission. I give you permission right now. Do you fear rejection from your social circle? Do you think that people will not want to be friends with you, or that your family will ostracize you if you're suddenly, hey, my life's good, I'm really happy, yeah, it's, you know, I'm confident, I'm rocking this life, actually, I kind of see what life is about now, this is all good. Do you fear allowing happiness in, like a relationship? And then losing it? That's a big one. You know, we always think we're going to pay for things. If something good comes along, we're going to pay for it tomorrow. So acknowledge if that's coming up for you. And if nothing comes up now, if you really have no idea what's holding you back, or what's limiting those feelings of happiness for yourself, then just write the first thing that comes into your head, even if it feels like nonsense. Just let it flow. You'd be so surprised at what the subconscious will let out if you just let it, and how enlightening that can be. So now that you've done those things, and believe me, if you haven't, nothing's going to change. So go back and do those things. Go back and make that list for yourself. And then hop on into my group, Elevate and Expand, and we can take it from there. I can also help you with the support of the tribe in there to work through any stuff that comes up from your list, or from even trying to access it for yourself, to trying to access those limiting beliefs. But with this, you have the power. With all of this information that you've dug into right here, you're freaking invincible, honestly. You have the keys to the happiness kingdom. So what are you going to do with them? What's next? So as you know from my last broadcast, these energy shift lives are not about planetary alignments, as much as I love those, and Lee Harris is like one of my favorite people to follow for these things. But I feel it is equally important to find and work our own energies, rather than letting ourselves be just blown around like bits of space tundra and, you know, feeling powerless, because we're not. We are powerful beings, and we give that away so easily. I don't want to let you do that, and that's why I'm here. That is why I'm doing these energy forecasts each month now. And I really need your help, because I am putting this out there and feeling like it's going out into a void, okay, and that nobody is listening. I can see a couple of people watching me now, but I would love to have your support and your acknowledgement that this is helping, because I want to help. That's why I'm doing this. I don't want to do this to get my face on, you know, the interwebs. That is not a priority for me. I am here to help people because I know I can. I have so many skills, tools, experience, both personal and professional, and I want to help you with them. So are you stuck? Do you want help, support, community? I would love to help you. Come on into our Elevate and Expand Facebook group. I'll pop the link below, and let's grow our conscious, happy vibrations together. Much love for now. Until next time. Mwah.